And he was right. Rennie was right. He had wakened my body, and Omeo had saved that wakened body. I had been attracted to Omeo from the very first evening, but now it was more, much more. I lay there, half awake, thinking about Omeo, when he knocked on my door and came in with a glass of iced tea. I sat up. "Oh, Omeo, thank you, thank you. It's only cold tea," he said. "Not the tea, me, my life. If it hadn't been for you, I'd be in a watery grave. I nearly was." He put my glass down on the table between the beds and took my hands. "It was Frank and V, as much as I, who saved you, Polly. But it has made you, Lo, a part of me, a part of my own life. I'll always be grateful." He was fierce. "I do not need gratitude. I do not want it. This is not our way." He smiled. "But we are friends forever in the mind of God, so I have brought you something." And he handed me the painting of the laughing Christ from his notebook. But you can't take a page out of your book," I protested. "I will paste in another after I am home. I want you to have this so that you will always remember me." "I would always remember you, no matter what. Lo, we need something we can touch or see," Omeo said. I wasn't sure how I felt about the painting of the laughing Christ. Omeo had no way of knowing that it could remind me of anybody except himself. I looked at it and saw a double image, the face of sheer joy and Max carrying the statue, her face distorted with whiskey and fear. "What is it?" Omeo asked. "Nothing." "I have hurt you." No, it's not you at all." That young man, that Zachary?" I shook my head. "Not Zachary. Omeo, if I take this, I need to give you something, and I don't have anything. A picture of yourself? A snapshot? I don't go around carrying pictures of myself. Well, I do have my school ID card, but it's an awful picture, like most ID cards. But may I have it? Sure, if you want it. Actually, it wasn't that bad a picture, or I wouldn't have dreamed of giving it to him." I got up and went to the desk and took it from my school notebook. I handed the picture to him. He smiled. "Yes, that's my Polly." He opened his wallet. "You won't need it when you get back to school?" "I can get another." It was all I had to give to Omeo, and I wanted him to have something of me. "Good then, I will put it here next to," and he indicated a snapshot of a blonde, fair-skinned girl with curly golden hair. On her lap was a dark-skinned baby boy with a surprising mop of that fair hair. "Who are they?" I asked curiously. He looked surprised. My wife and baby. When I married a girl who was born in England, I knew that I had truly forgiven, all the way deep in my heart, what had been done to my father. My lips felt the way they do when the dentist has pumped them full of Novocaine. "I didn't know you were married." His eyes widened. "But my Polly, I showed you my pictures that first night." "No." "How could I not? I showed them to Chris. I know. Our little one was born since I last saw Chris, and is named after him." I got up and took the picture of the laughing Christ to my desk and propped it up. But now I saw no laughter in the face, no joy. "Noreen will be wanting me," I said. "I've got to get dressed." "Polly, you really did not know that I have a wife?" I shook my head. "Why does it make such a difference?" I shrugged. "It doesn't." He put one hand lightly on my shoulder. "I am married to one wife, and I will be true to her. But that does not mean that no one else can touch my soul." "No," I said. "Please go, Omeo. I have to dress." He dropped his hand. "To deny friendship is unlove," and he laughed. Why was I making such a big deal out of Omeo's not telling me he was married? He thought I knew. He wasn't trying to keep anything from me. He truly thought I knew. And why should it matter anyhow? We'd be together for 3 weeks, and then Omeo would go back to Baki, and I go back to Benicy, and maybe we'd write a couple of times, and that would be that. But Omeo had kissed my eyelids under the thick sycamore tree. Omeo had pulled me out of the sea. Yet, despite my own imaginings of his kisses, his touch, I knew that Omeo had never kissed me as Rennie had kissed me in the boat on the way back to Benicene. Omeo knew restraints. We were in Ostia Fiola. Fiola's love and her perception of truth were restraints. Chris was a restraint. I worked in the office with Noreen for the rest of the afternoon. If I seemed preoccupied or upset, she put it down to the accident with Zachary. She kept me busy with the ancient mimeograph machine, and I did my best to run off stencils without getting completely covered with purple ink in the process. I hope Frank is not getting too fond of V. She frowned. Does he know about her husband? She does not make it a secret. Neither does she talk about it. Well, at least they could be friends, as I could be friends with Omeo. To deny friendship is unlove, he had said. Noreen's hand slowed down as she was feeding paper into the machine. Without friends, we would not survive. And I knew nothing about what had hurt Noreen. The phone rang, and she answered it in her usual brisk manner. Elsie, I heard her say, she may not wish to speak with you. She turned to me, her hand over the mouthpiece. It is that young man who has caused so much trouble. You do not have to speak to him. She shook her head. But I moved toward the phone. I think I better. He's got to be feeling terrible. Maybe my concern over Zachary's feeling was, under all the circumstances, inconsistent of me. He was indeed contrite, and I had it in me to be sorry for him and agreed to meet him in Athens between flights. Noreen had left me alone, saying that she had to speak to Sophonisba and Tulia. Hey, Paul, you know I'm really sorry, don't you? He asked. I mean, I know it was my fault. We went in the soup, not yours. It's okay, I said, and that was all I could think of to say to Zachary. The funny thing was, it was okay. I could let Zachary be the way he was, and it didn't really bother me. Was it because I didn't really care about him that much? He'd been terrific while I was in Athens. I had fun with him. He'd done marvels for my ego. But despite his talk about our chemistry being so great, it really wasn't. He didn't do things to my pheromones the way Rennie did, or Omeo. I was going to be able to say a casual goodbye to Zachary, whether in Cyprus or in Athens airport. It wasn't going to make a ragged scar in my life. I liked him, but I didn't love him, and that was very confusing because I certainly hadn't sorted out what love is. Hey, are you there? He asked. The phone was crackling as though we were talking long distance. I'm right here. But I have work to do, Zach. But is everything okay with us? I haven't ruined it all? No, I said. It was an accident. So you don't mind if I meet your plane in Athens? No, I don't mind a bit. It will be fun. Can you sound a little more enthusiastic? Sure, Zach, but I'm still kind of tired. I'm just grateful that you're not dumping me, he said. See you in Athens. I hung up and went back to the recalcitrant mimeograph machine, getting even more ink on myself. I didn't notice when Chris came into the office until he spoke. Polly? I looked up from the machine and wiped my inky fingers on a rag. Oh, Chris, hello. Hello. You are doing a good job, Polly, being very helpful. Thank you. I'm loving every minute of it. Despite your accident with the kayak, thanks to Omeo and V and Frank, nothing terrible happened. Noreen is afraid we're working you too hard. Oh no, I was afraid I wasn't working hard enough. I am glad indeed that Max arranged for you to come to us. I fiddled with the machine, spilling more ink. Polly, whenever I mention Max, you withdraw. Is something wrong? Yes, I said, but since Max didn't tell you, what is it? Would you be betraying a confidence by telling me? I blurted out, Max is dying. Maybe I am betraying a confidence, but oh, Chris, she's afraid, and maybe you could pray for her. I could see a shadow of grave cross his face. I will pray. She has an awful South American disease transmitted by an insect bite. It affects the heart and is slow and painful and lethal. I managed to keep my voice level. He accepted without question what I said. I'm glad you told me. He took my hands and looked into my eyes. I think Maxon would be glad too. I'm glad you know, I said. Oh, Chris, I'm very glad you know. He squeezed my hands gently. You're covered with ink. Go back to the dormitory where there is warm water to wash it off. I nodded, left. Chris's prayers would not save Max's life, but they were nevertheless very important. Omeo came up to me as I walked along the path with the roses. I'm inky. I held out my purple hands. Don't touch me. My Polly, you have been beaten, and you are still bleeding, and lo, I have rubbed salt in your wounds. I shook my head. Tears rushed to my eyes. I'm being very silly. Is it that Zachary? Has it something to do with him? No! But you have been hurt. When I gave you my picture of the laughing Christ, I hurt you. If you do not want to keep it, I will not be offended. No, please, I want to keep it. Lo, I am glad then of that. Before you came to Cyprus, someone hurt you? Yes, but I'm not thinking straight about that either. Are we still friends? Of course. I closed my eyes, and the slanting rays of the sun made dancing dots behind my eyelids. I don't know what's the matter. It doesn't have anything to do with you, doesn't it? That does not make me happy. His fingers lightly touched mine. We of Baki are still close to the old ways. It was always understood that it was possible to love more than one person at a time without dishonor. I nodded, looking at our shadows, which were lengthening on the hot ground. And, he said, Jesus was more forgiving to those who made mistakes in love than to those who judged each other harshly and were cold of heart. Your picture, I tried to speak over the lump in my throat, of the laughing Christ will not let me forget that. Omeo, I do have to go wash off all this ink. And then we will meet thee under a fig sycamore tree. She is ready to go swimming. I got most of the ink off before going to the tree where Omeo and V waited. Sure you're up to it? V asked me. Sure. I had a good nap this afternoon, and my foot no longer hurt me. When the water came in view, Omeo stopped us. Look, he exclaimed. The moon rose above the water, waxing full and beneficent, while on the other horizon, the great orb of golden sun slid down into the darkness behind the sea's horizon. I had never before seen the end of day and the beginning of night greet each other. We were caught in the loveliness between the two. Oh, joy! V breathed. Above us, the sky was a tent of blues and violets and greens, with just a touch of rose, and we were enclosed in it. We walked slowly until we got to the path Omeo and I had made through the encircling ring of stones. What a splendid job, V said. She bent down to the stones and searched until she had found 4 small round white ones. She put them in the pocket of her terry robe, one for each of us, and one for Frank. Whenever there is a full moon, we will hold our moonstones and think of Ossia Fiola and the rising of the moon and the setting of the sun. Now, children, you go ahead and race. Just one quick one, I said. We swam parallel to the shore, and I could tell that Omeo was constantly checking me. I'm a good swimmer, Omeo. You don't have to worry. He swam beside me. If you were not a good swimmer, Lo, you would by now be washed up on some strange shore, and that blank young man with you. He used a Bakian word I did not understand, but I knew it was not complimentary. He went on, I do not want him meeting you in the airport. I, too, have time between planes. I will stay with you to take care of you, if you will let me. I did not answer that. I tried to turn it into a joke. He can't take me kayaking in Athens airport. He is not good for you, Omeo said. He wants too much. He is someone who takes. He does not give. Those words were an echo of something, but at that moment, I could not remember what. We better swim back to V, I said, and we turned toward shore. When we got back to her, Omeo asked, will we be able to have our afternoon swim tomorrow when the delegates are all here? We'll manage, V said. We need the exercise. Don't worry about it now. We have today to rejoice in this moment of sheer loveliness. Don't you have a saying, Omeo asked, that we should live every day as though we were going to die tomorrow and as though we were going to live forever? It's an old adage, V said, but a good one. Let's have another swim. The water was caressing as I swam, this time with V. The sunset was deepening, and Omeo called out and pointed, and we saw great bursts of lightning zagging behind clouds, which were all the way across the Mediterranean. Shouldn't we get out? I asked. Isn't it dangerous? V reassured me. It's all right. The storm is over in Lebanon and Syria, so far off we can't even hear the thunder. But we swam for only a few minutes longer, then turned into shore. V put on her robe and pulled 2 of the stones out of the pocket, giving one to Omeo, one to me, moonstones. We walked slowly through the steamy evening, up the sand and stones of the hill, pausing to say goodnight to the little goats. Omeo leaned over the fence, and one of the goats came and nibbled on his fingers, and he stroked the soft ears. Then we walked on. Omeo did not take my hand. After dinner, we stayed in the cloister. Chris said that a bus would meet the first load of delegates in the early morning. There would be delegates coming in on 3 different planes, and our lives would change radically as we were joined by 30 or more different people from all over the world except behind the Iron Curtain. But you will be amazed at how quickly you come to know them, Chris said. How soon they will seem like family, as we are family around this table. But there will be 4 or more tables, Noreen said, wiping her face. The breeze was hot, the air so heavy it was tangible. This heat has got to break soon, Chris said, and then I will insist on swimming at the scheduled time. V, please. In the middle of the day. V put her hands together, bowing. Yes, master. Then we sang for a while, ending with Saranam. For those who've gone, for those who stay, for those to come, following the way, be guest and guide both night and day. Saranam, Saranam, Saranam. Omeo walked with me back to the dormitory and down the length of the long hall to my room. My room alone for this one last night. As I turned to open the door, he took my hands. Would you want never to have these days together before everybody comes? Never to have become friends? Of course not. It's been marvelous. Isn't it still marvelous? It will go on being marvelous when, lo, we are a large instead of a small family. Omeo had never promised me anything except friendship, and that was still his offering to me. The intensity of the experience with the kayak was part of that friendship. I had been greedy, grasping. Everything Rennie had warned me of I had fallen for, if not actually, at least potentially. I felt small and chastened. Omeo looked at me questioningly. It's still marvelous, I said. Would I want to have met Max? Would I want never to have met Max? Never to have had my horizons expanded? Would I truly want to eradicate all the good times because of one terrible time? Yes, it was terrible. Max insane with alcohol and pain and fear. But would I wipe out all the rest of it for that moment of dementia? If I wanted Max as goddess and idol, then yes, I would have to destroy it. But not if I wanted Max as a human being, a vibrant, perceptive human being who saw potential in me that I hardly dared dream of. Not if I wanted Max as she was, brilliant but flawed. Perhaps the greater the brilliance, the darker the flaw. And what about Ursula? Surely Ursula had given me the best with open generosity, not threatened by Max's love of me. Why was I able to feel compassion for Zachary, who was selfish, who belonged to a world of power and corruption, and who had nearly killed me? Why didn't I want to wipe Zachary out? And now I knew that I no longer wanted to wipe Max out. To wipe Max out was to wipe out part of myself. Good night, my Polly, Omeo said. I got ready for bed and worked on my school journal. I was in the middle of a sentence when there was a great flash of lightning coming through the slats and the shutters, followed immediately by thunder, and the heat-breaking storm struck. I closed my notebook. This was not the kind of violence one could write through. There was a knock on my door and Millie came in. You all right, Polly? Yeah, fine. This is going to break the heat. You're not afraid? No? Would you like me to stay with you for a few minutes till the worst is over? These storms never last long. Millie was nervous over man-made power failure, but not of a storm caused by nature. She had come to me, not because she was afraid, but because she thought I might be. Yes, please, Millie, I said. The lights went out. Millie reached over and took my hand. Ahoy! We heard Frank's voice outside, and he came in with a flashlight and a handful of stubby candles. Chris has these for all of us. He came in, and we saw that V and Bashamoth were with him. He lit candles for us, placing them on desks and chests of drawers. In a moment, Noreen came in, and V beckoned her to join her on the spare bed. Millie began to sing, her voice unwavering through the crashing of the thunder. Chris came and stood in the doorway, looking at us with his gentle smile, and Noreen pulled him in, and Omeo offered him one of the desk chairs. All of us sang, Millie ordered, and we sang until the storm was over, and cool air came in, even through the cracks of the shutters. Bashamoth stood up and yawned and said goodnight. Yes, it is time, Chris said. Tomorrow will be a busy day. Frank held out his hands to V. Omeo left with them. Chris stood up, looking down at me, sitting on the bed. Bless you, Polly. Good night. I felt somehow as though at last I had been allowed past the outer gates of Abydos and into the sacred precincts. Millie stood and stretched. Good night, little one. It's cooler. Much. We may even need our blankets. You better not open the shutters anyhow. Did you light your bow coil? I will. Millie bent down and kissed me. Mwah. Then went to her room. I lit the coil, blew out the candle, which remained. The darkness was lifted by the lightness in the air. I was suddenly wide awake because the power had come back on and the lights in my room were bright. I got up and turned them off, pushed the shutters open to a lovely cool breeze. Through the wall I could hear Millie snoring, safe, comfortable snores. I slipped outside and the breeze was fresh, not burdened with moisture. I was not attacked by insects. The full moon was low in the sky, streaked by swiftly moving clouds. The storm in Ostia Fiola was over, but in those troubled lands across from us, the electrical storm was still playing. Polly, I looked over the balcony and saw Omeo. You're awake. I was sound asleep, I said, but when the power came on, my lights woke me. Come and sit on the wall by the fig sycamore for a while. The stones hurt my bare feet, but I made it to the crumbling remnant of wall and sat looking at the moon sliding below the horizon. Omeo sat beside me, and when I shivered in the cool breeze, he drew me to him to keep me warm. Whatever it was I had silently been demanding of Omeo, I was no longer demanding. I was happy sitting beside him, watching the night sky. I loved him, but I loved him as a friend, as I loved Max as a friend. The clean feeling of love blew through me with a breeze. I sighed with a joyous kind of relief. Omeo's arm tightened about me. Is everything all right with us, Polly? Everything is fine. I'm sorry I was such an idiot. It was not Omeo, he said. It was whoever hurt you. I was very confused. And now? It's okay, I said, wondering. It's all right. We are true good friends? True good friends. He kissed me gently on the cheek. Mwah. And we climbed back onto the balconies, and he waited until I was in the room, drawing the shutters not quite closed. I slept and dreamed. I went into the church in Ostia Fiola's cave. Inside the cave, my littlest brother and sister, Johnny and Rosie, were blowing bubbles, and the bubbles, with their iridescent colors, illumined the darkness of the cave. But I saw that each bubble was filled with stars, with galaxies, countless galaxies. Each bubble was an island of universe. The cave was gone, the little ones were gone, and all I could see was the loveliness of the bubbles, universes glowing softly with the life of all creation. And then I saw a hand, and all the bubbles were in the hand, which was holding them tenderly, lovingly. And in the dream, I understood that this was Blessed Fiola's vision of love. I woke up even earlier than usual, feeling rested and refreshed. I dressed and hurried out into the clear air. The sun was warm, not hot, but the day sparkled. Nobody was about, not even the old men eternally watering the roses. I thought I heard sounds in the direction of the church and moved across the compound. There was an early morning service going on, and I stood in the doorway, watching the people standing quietly, their heads covered. I listened to the Byzantine chanting of the priest. I felt a presence behind me, and it was Chris. We turned away from the church together. Chris, would it be possible for me to make an overseas call? We could try. He didn't sound surprised. We went to the office, and he dialed several times, spoke to 3 different operators, finally gave the phone to me and left me alone. I gave the operator the number. There was a long blank pause, and then the sound of distant ringing, and then a voice. Hello? Urs? Yes, who is it? Yes, who is it? I had no idea what time it was at home. It didn't matter. Urs, it's Polly. Max, may I speak to Max? Ursula's voice sounded hollow, with an echo following it. Just a moment, child. Moment, child. The echo came faintly. I waited, and then Max's voice. Polly? Polly? Max, I love you. I just wanted to call and tell you I love you. I stopped because I could hear my own voice distantly echoing back what I had said. Oh, Polly, forgive me. Me too. Forgive me too. Forgive, echoed back. I'm so glad you called. I love you, Max. I love you. I have so much to tell you. But before the echo had a chance to repeat my words, the connection was cut and the phone went dead. It was all right. I had said what I needed to say. Chris was waiting outside. He didn't ask me who I had needed to phone so suddenly. We walked slowly across the compound to the refectory part of the cloister. The cold place within me that had frozen and constricted my heart was gone. My heart was like a lotus, and in that little space there was room enough for Ossia Fiola, for all of Cyprus, for all the stars and all the galaxies, for all those bubbles which were island universes. In the cloister, everybody was gathering for breakfast. Polly, Noreen called, we will be very busy today. All the delegates must come into the office, and we will check them off and give them their blue folders and room assignments. She paused for breath, and Omeo took my hand and pulled me to the chair next to his. Saranam, he said.